Yeah, Coach, can you just give us an idea of how things are going with, the ins and outs of the roster and how you guys are managing? Now we know Charlie's back and some of the other guys aren't back. Who are you expecting back maybe by tomorrow? Hopefully Myles, Jack. How's it all going?
Yeah, day by day. So, I think Myles is scheduled to come back tomorrow. We'll see. I think Jack is a potential. Jack and Cody will be potential on Saturday. But it's just day by day and make sure we're following all the rules.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Scott Petrick, you're up next.
Hey, Kevin, I know you keep the focus 1 week at a time and you don't like talking playoffs. But my question is, does that get tougher to do the deeper you get into the season? And every time you're watching a game, it's kind of got the playoff picture. Does that make it tougher for the guys to not look ahead?
It's not tough for me. I think I'm sure guys are human in that regard. But for us in here, we really don't go there. These games are too important. The preparation required is too important to spend any time with your mind wandering elsewhere.
At any point in the season, does it become kind of like that carrot, like, hey, this is the goal, or is that just always in everybody's head anyway?
Yeah, Scott, I think it's the goal the moment you get together. When that first training camp meeting, I promise you all 32 clubs talked about their goals and what they want to do. So you state them early, and then you just make sure you're playing good football throughout.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Nate Ulrich, we'll go to you.
Hey, Kevin, I know you said that you think Myles is scheduled to come back tomorrow. Have you talked to him? Is he feeling better? Is this something that you think, he'll be able to overcome and play Sunday?
I haven't checked in with Joe yet about Myles, but again, with all of this, you just got to follow the protocols.
Okay, and with the league, requiring all teams to stay in intensive protocols for the rest of the season, what does that mean for you guys? What I know you've been in it for this week and last week, but what changes? What is that going to mean in terms of changes for you guys? And does it, hinder you at all, or are you guys just so used to it that it's going to be like no big deal at all?
Yeah, Nate, in a lot of ways, we're very used to it. The guys are also used to the schedule changing every other day, it feels like. And again, I think that just has made sure our guys understand that they got to be on their toes and that there's going to be some curveballs coming their way and they can't blink, and they haven't. So in terms of the intensive protocol, it's kind of what we're used to. A lot of virtual teaching. We're not having any of those meetings in-house anymore out on the field. The guys are wearing the Oakley face shields and masks are obviously, but for us, it's very much business as usual.
Thank you, Nate. We'll go to Zach Jackson next.
Coach, I want to ask you about the screen game and specifically Kareem. Seems like he's really good in that area where there's a little bit of open space and guys coming at him. Do you agree with that? And just in general, what are the ingredients for becoming a good screen team?
Yeah, I think it's a multifaceted, Zach, and what type of screen are you talking about is really kind of how it shakes out. With a running back screen, and you mentioned Kareem, there's definitely a feel for that. There's a savviness to that. And then there's the having the ball in his hands and making people miss. I think everybody knows Kareem's a talented ball carrier in that regard. But there's so much that goes into the screen game, whether it's a running back screen, a tight end screen, a wide receiver screen. It really does take 11 guys to be on point using the technique. And then timing and landmarks are so critical on screens to really get those things going. And sometimes the defense makes a great play and it looks not so good for the offense. And the next time you get a different look and it's a great one coming out. So there's some volatility in how the screens come out of the game.
Thank you, Zach. Dan Lobby has our next question.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to follow up on Nate's question about the protocols. And I'm just curious, in your mind, what do you think you guys, really miss or lose when you can't have guys in the same room or in the building for these meetings and things like that?
Yeah, I think obviously you lose something. We don't have any meals in the building anymore. The guys grab and go all their meals, so you're not sharing meals with each other. There's obviously there's a time limit that they spend in the locker room, and it's get in and get out. So it's very unfortunate when you're talking about a team sport that you can't spend a lot of time with your team. And I think all 32 are experiencing that. So we make sure that we're out there at practice, we're doing our jobs, and trying as much to constantly come together as a team. I don't think that's just an off-season type thing, but it is a challenge I'm sure that all 32 are facing.
Do you kind of find that there's I don't know if this is the right phrase, but like a sense of urgency during those like couple hours you can have guys around and you can have some face-to-face with them?
Yeah, I think the urgency is always there to get your work in. So I don't sense that any more now than before.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Dan. Back to Mary Kay Cabot.
Yeah, 2 questions real quick. Do you anticipate having JC back in practice today?
I do.
Okay. And then the other question that I have is, and that was just some kind of an excuse, personal thing for him, right? Nothing that you can share with us probably. My other question then is, when you're in these intensive protocols, how do you guys deal with, just all the family stuff? I mean, everybody has kids, going to school, coming home from school. And so what are you guys doing to try to manage that or help your players manage the ins and outs of all the family stuff?
Yeah, it's hard, Mary Kay. I think, again, nothing that the rest of the country, I'm sure, isn't dealing with. And some guys' kids are virtual, some guys' kids are in school. It's just a strange time. So we try to educate everybody about making choices that keep everybody safe. But it's a challenge, just like it is for everybody out there.
Do you guys, are there any players that, that you guys feel like need to be separated from, families or anything like that? Are you guys doing anything, or are players taking it upon themselves to do things like that?
Yeah, we've talked about it. I mean, when you're in the intensive protocols, you can't hang out together outside of this building. And for us, we just try to educate everybody on the risks that are involved when you're talking about having anyone in your home or wherever you leave to this building. Once you leave this building, you got to make smart decisions. So we talk a lot about that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Jake Trotter, you're up next.
Yeah, Kevin, you brought up an interesting point about, the challenge of building team chemistry when you're so seldom together. And when you are together, you're practicing. What are some specific ways you've tried to keep that going, especially during the season? Off season, you probably have more time to, have Zoom calls or whatever. But, during the season, what have you done to kind of continue to build that team chemistry, especially with so many new coaches, so many guys that are relatively new in the locker room?
Yeah, I think, Jake, for the season, you really do get wrapped up in your preparation. As much as you can, you have light moments out at practice or on the Zoom calls. It's a little bit harder, but it's not impossible to have some fun while you're working. So that's kind of been our focus, but nothing specifically other than to tell you the guys do a great job when they're on the Zoom calls, when they're out there at practice, to making sure that we're getting our work done and doing it at a high level with a bunch of enthusiasm.
Scott Petrick has our next question.
Hey, Kevin, yesterday you mentioned some of the things you liked about Carson Wentz. Is he difficult to prepare for because you see these kind of big time throws and then he even makes plays running, but then there's some inconsistency and you never kind of know quite what their offense is going to do?
Yeah, Scott, we have a tremendous amount of respect for Carson Wentz and this offense. It's not hard to see what he's capable of. This year, he's making plays. You go back previous year, he's making plays. He's a unique talent in his size and his ability to move. You mentioned he can make every single throw. So he presents a very, very real challenge for our defense.
And it seems like I know they talk in Philly about him holding on to the ball a lot. And he kind of, wants to extend plays. So as a defense, is that challenging and kind of opportunistic? Like, hey, there might be more plays to make, but we got to cover longer.
It's not much different than last week versus Deshaun Watson, somebody that could beat you from the pocket on time and then has the ability to buy a lot of time and beat you late in the down. So a very similar challenge.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. We'll take 2 more questions. Mary Kay Cabot and Fred Greetham. Mary Kay, go ahead.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything definitive yet on how, these stay-at-home orders are impacting whether or not you guys are allowed to have the same amount of fans in the stadium. But how much has it meant to you guys during these home games to have some fans there? And how much, I guess, do you hope you can keep that going?
Yeah, I mean, I'm extremely appreciative of our 12,000 strong. It's a different year. I can't wait to see that stadium filled at some point, but for now, we'll just follow the protocols, and I really do appreciate how loud they've been. I feel their enthusiasm, and definitely looking forward to a point when First Energy Stadium is full to capacity, and we'll see when that happens. But for now, we really do enjoy having our fans there.
And they've stuck around through hail, right?
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Fred Greetham for a final one.
Hey, Coach, just on the defense, what area of growth or improvement have you seen from the beginning of the season up until now?
Yeah, I think I think that bye week was big for us, Fred. Take those 8 games and look at them and kind of ask some questions and can maybe do better from a personnel standpoint, thematic standpoint. And I think we're looking forward to applying some of those lessons. And it's really, it runs the gamut of answers. It's things that we can do better, putting our guys in positions better. Situationally, we've talked at length about getting off the field on 3rd and 4th down. And I think our guys are excited to, continue to grow in those areas.